Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of our photography review show. I hope you all had a great week and I hope you're ready for more photography fun. Now, if we never met before, my name is Jakub. I'm professional landscape photographer based in West Sussex, England, and also I'm the founder of Clever Photographer. Clever Photographer is a brand and business that create and design digital tools for photographers like you and me. Now we are focusing on Luminar Neo, Lightroom and Photoshop. However, on top of it, we are also really involved with our photography community, and this show is one of the ways how I like to stay in touch with our photographers. Now, while summer is usually very quiet for us, we still have a few photographers who submitted their images. And basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna look at the photos and we're gonna look at them from three different points of view. We're gonna look at the technical part. This is where we look at things like your camera settings, your gear, your noise, sharpness, brightness, exposure, all that fun technical stuff. After that, we look at the artistic part. The first impression, the composition, framing, storytelling, main subject, and everything about that. And on the top of it, if I think that it's beneficial and if I think that it will help you, then I usually try to give you some tips and tricks on how to edit your image. And for that specifically, we are using Luminar Neo because we are massive fans of this software. And this is because this is what we do. If you don't have Luminar Neo, don't worry. Most of the editing I'm gonna be doing or the adjustments can be pretty much done in any other similar photo editing software. Before we finish, just a quick reminder on how you can join us. Well, it's never been as easy as it is right now. All you need to do is to jump on our website, cleverphotographer.com/membership. And on that page, you can find our Clever Photographer Plus membership. For a little monthly fee, you will get access to the photography review show. So you will be able to send me your images, I will review them for you, and I will give you your feedback. On the top of it, you will also get access to our Clever Photographer Academy, where we talk all things photography. And most importantly, thing that people really love is our monthly digital photography bundle. Each month is focusing on different style of photography. And for example, now for August, I'm just finishing a preparation of nature photography bundle, which includes somewhere around 300 different digital assets, which really have everything from your presets for Lightroom, Luminar and Photoshop, overlays, LUTs, backgrounds, textures, brushes, custom brushes, everything you can imagine. So it's a lot of fun, and I definitely think that for the price of $9.99, it's definitely worth it. So this is how you join us. This is what we're gonna do. And since this is all out of the way, we can jump into the software and start with the reviewing. Okay, starting with the first photographer, who is Weasley, we have two images, one in RAW format and one in JPEG. So we have this portrait here and this little landscape here. So let's start with the portrait first. Let's have a look at the edited file in a JPEG format, and then let's switch to the RAW file. So starting again with the technical part of the photo, let's look at the camera details and also the camera settings. Looking at it, this was captured with the Nikon Z7 with the lens 28 to 300 millimeters. From the camera settings, ISO 200, 145 millimeters, f5.6 and 1/80th of a second. So ISO 200, no problem there for maybe like a little lower situation, lower light situation. On the top of it, again, portrait, looking for faster shutter speed, I think that's fine. f5.6, in general, that should give you quite nice depth of field and good sharpness. And as I zoom in, I can see that that is all there, including your feathers and face, nose, eyes. It all look very good. 1/80th of a second isn't the fastest, but again, if the model wasn't moving too much, Everything worked out well there, except maybe some of the feathers, but that could be again the depth with the f-stop, so I'm really not that worried about it. So all in all, I think the camera setting is very good. I already mentioned that the sharpness is excellent as well. The depth of field also work very well. There's no problem with the noise really moving around. There is just a little bit, which you will always get on the digital photos anyway. So in overall, I think it looks very good. I'm very impressed. The light is really nice and diffuse coming from the side. There's a light coming from the side as well as front, also on the feathers. I think all of that looks really, really well. When we talk about the artistic part, this is where we need to switch into the edited photo, because that's already when you have applied your overall creative idea, and what I think that's what we should look at. So here we have the image after, before and after, and obviously you have added much more attention towards the main subject, which I think works very well. Darkening of the background is probably a good idea too. You always want to be a little bit careful not to overdo it, which I think in this case, I wish the face would be just a little less brighter. I think you started where obviously you want to add more attention towards the main subject, but now you have pretty much darkened the background and there's a lots of attention on her face, where originally you can see the rest of the body didn't have it. So maybe just a little too bright. The rest of it is good. There is a little bit of blue tint in the feathers, which is not necessarily a problem. It makes them, again, stand out a little bit, and I think it all works very well. One thing you have to remember and maybe keep in your mind is that human eye, when it looks at the image or photo or painting or anything, it gets automatically attracted by contrast. But on the top of it, not only contrast, which can be color contrast, brightness contrast, sharpness contrast, all sorts of different contrasts. In general, human eyes get automatically attracted by the brightest and whitest part of the photo. Now, I know there will be people there who will say that it doesn't always apply that way, but actually, in 90% of the time, it does apply that way. So when I look at this image, because what I always like to do, I like to download the images and look at them and make a few notes just to kind of see what I'm thinking about the images before I start to dive deep into them, because I think that's really important. And when I look at the image, the first place, without any doubt, my eyes goes are the feathers. Now, there's nothing you can do about it. That's what she's wearing and so on. However, it's just very important to remember that the person who will look at the image will not look at the face first. The eyes will shift immediately on the feathers. That's just how it is. Different ways you could work with it. You could adjust the brightness a little bit, lower it locally, maybe with a brush, bringing the whites down and then brushing over the feathers. Yeah, just maybe if you would be in control of the model, you could also maybe try to avoid these kind of bright areas, but still, it's just a learning, so it's not necessarily anything wrong. It's just very interesting and important to keep in mind. Other than that, I think it's great. Now, personally, I would wish there would be just a little bit more space in front of her, in front of the face. I am a big believer of active space in front of the subjects, especially when we're talking about models and animals. I think quite often we kind of suffocate them by putting them really close to the edge. And on the top of it, because I have some experience with printing and, adding the white frame around it, I know that you always lose at least half an inch or inch, and then in this case you would be getting really close to the subject. So yeah, just keep an eye on the edges, always have a little bit extra, and when in doubt, when you're not sure, definitely add a little bit extra, or just do step back or zoom out or whatever works for you. But I still think it's a great picture. It's a beautiful subject, lots of textures, really nice contrast. In overall, I think it worked really, really well. Now I have mentioned the adjustments, the brightness, as well as maybe the feathers. So let's take the image, move it into edit module, where what we're gonna do, we're gonna open the develop tool. In the develop tool, we're gonna take the exposure slider and bring it down. Now let's have a look at it. Let's see. I think that somewhere around minus 0.60. Yeah, I think that looks much better. Let's have a look. Before and after. It just makes it a little bit more natural. And at the same time, the feathers get this really nice blue tint or color. And again, they attract a little bit less color. However, we can actually close the develop tool, reopen it. Then we can go into the black and whites and take the whites and actually bring them down. Now, what we're doing, we only keeping an eye on the actual feathers. Is it doing anything? Just very little. So at the same time, we're going to also bring down the exposure to something like this. And after that, we're going to take the masking, or we're going to switch to the masking brush, make sure that we are on paint, size, that will do, softness on 100, strength on 100. And now we're just going to brush over the feathers. So here, and also on this part right here. So looking at it, that looks much better. Now let's have a check before and after. And I really like the result. So that's the first image. Now moving to the second image. This is the edited version and this is the raw file. So talking about the raw file, again, Nikon Z7 with the 28 to 300 millimeters, ISO 320, f5.6 and 1/3200 of a second. Now looking at it, and again, looking at the environment, I'm not sure, maybe you were on water or boat, and that's why the kind of little bit higher ISO and higher shutter speed. However, that's perfectly fine. ISO 320 isn't really a big deal in 2024 anymore, and generally you can easily remove it. Looking at it, the sharpness is very decent too, so everything good there. The noise, there is a little bit in the sky, but again, nothing crazy. So all in all, it's very nice. In overall, the diffuse light with a little bit of the highlight coming from this side, I think works very well too. So technically, I think this is well captured. So the only thing we need to look at is the edited part. This is where we're talking about the artistic part of the image. So looking at it, it's very pretty again. I really like the highlights. I like what you've done with the sky with a little bit of texture in it. Also, I really appreciate the white balance of the white snow. I think that works really well with a little bit of that blue ice in front. Everything works really, really well. Looking at it, Weasley, the only thing I'm thinking about is actually making sure that your horizon is straight. Now, there are different ways how you can do this. You can try different aligning, but I think a simple crop tool where you just rotate it around. Once it starts to work, I think just maybe somewhere around here. Oh, that's too much. So yeah, somewhere around here should do. Once happy, we can hit enter on the keyboard or click on apply. It usually just takes a few seconds. It will crop it for us. It will rotate it and we will get the final result. So I think that this looks a little bit more balanced and aligned. And other than that, I think it's very, very good. So excellent job on both of the images. Thank you very much for sharing them with us. And I hope to see more pictures of you or from you in the future episodes, where I think the next one is in the middle of August. So keep an eye on social media as well as our product, the membership. The dates and the links should be already there. Moving to the second photographer of today's show, and that's Tony. Tony is one of our regular photographers, and he often sends us beautiful captures of nature photography. And today isn't any different. We have 4 images from him, so let's jump straight to it. Starting from here, we have this beautiful butterfly sitting on the flower right here. Then we have this beautiful blue plant or flower with the bees on the top of it. This is lovely red flower, again, with very nice diffused and kind of almost like a bouquet background. And then we have this purple plant right here. Tony, okay, let's have a look at it. Unusual framing for you. Generally, or often you come with a square captures, but still, let's go ahead and start. Starting with this image right here. So we have this, I assume it's a butterfly. And to be honest, when I look at this image, when I start to look at it, that is first thing that kind of strike me. I think the focus is a little bit off on it. You can see that there is not really super sharpness on the animal, neither on the plant. So there is just maybe a little bit of a movement, or I'm not sure, but the sharpness isn't great on this one. So while we're doing it, let's have a look at the camera details on this one. It's a Canon 7D with the 18 to 135 millimeters with the settings ISO 200, 135 millimeters, f8 on 1/250th of a second. So for some reason, there was maybe a movement of the camera. Often it happens with that kind of long lens, 135, that maybe just a slight movement can really shake it and give you not as sharp image as you would want. And I think that's what's happening. Even with the 1/250th of a second, there is just a little bit of movement there. And to be honest, it's definitely something that kind of put the image a little bit, it's just something that you would looking forward to do differently in the future. So that's for this image here. Faster shutter speed, maybe something like a automatic stabilization, something like that should help to get a little bit more crispier image is the word I was looking for. On the second image, actually, where there are animals, the result is much better. Let's have a look. Same camera, same lens. Is it the same setting? Pretty much same setting, except the f-stop, a little bit higher. So ISO 200, 135 millimeters, f10, and 250th second on the shutter speed. Well, either there was no movement or it was captured differently. This is much better, much more details, sharpness on the animals, the plant, lovely soft background, lovely edited, very natural colors. Beautiful, beautiful capture. So this is great. Really like it. I like the framing as well. The back down here, lots happening, and it really makes the image very interesting. I also really enjoy the contrast of the colors. Your blue and the green works really well. Yeah, excellent. Excellent capture, Tony. Talking about this image, I think out of all four of them, this one is definitely one of my favorite. Really like it. Lots of beautiful texture, colors, color, luminance, the separation, the contrast, the sharpness, everything works very well. The framing, it's beautiful image, beautifully captured. Definitely something you could print and have it on a wall or use it for future projects. So this one, Tony, I really like. Again, captured with the same camera, same lens, little lower ISO, but yeah, great result. And finally on this one, to be honest, looking at it, it has a similar issue as the first image. Now, I'm starting to think if you send me the right photos, maybe that's the reason why they look just a little bit out of focus. Because when I look at it, again, the sharpness isn't 100% there. Same camera, same lens, similar setting as we already seen, but the sharpness is just somewhere around here. So definitely, Tony, either look at the files and see if you send me the right ones, or just need to adjust a little bit the camera settings to get the sharper images. All in all, when you look at them like this, they are beautiful. Again, I'm a big fan of purple blue with the green. I think that creates a beautiful image. So well done on that. And again, two beautiful photos anyway. So well done for sending it over. Tony, keep an eye on the dates and links. I can't wait to see your photos already. Have a great rest of the week. I hope you're enjoying the sun here in UK, just like I do. And I'm going to the pool, so if you have a chance, do the same. Folks, have a great evening. Thank you very much for joining me. And don't forget that if you want to join us, maybe already for the next episode, head to our website, cleverphotographer.com/forward membership.